So here's something really hilarious. So what you're going to be seeing is, I guess Jordan Peterson was giving one of his lectures, and what he's going to say is that this ancient sort of drawing was a representation of the double helix that we now know as the representation of DNA. That's, the form of DNA is a double helix, as you guys know. We found out because of Rosalind Franklin and, the pictures that we got, and we know that DNA is a double helix. Now, check out what Jordan Peterson thinks about this.
This is from China. So this is Fuxi and Nuwa. I think I've got that right. But I just love that representation. It's so insanely cool, this representation. So you see the primary mother and father of humanity emerging from this underlying snake-like entity with its tails tangled together. I think that's I really do believe this, although it's very complicated to explain why. I really believe that's a representation of DNA. So, and that representation, that entwined double helix, that is everywhere. You can see it in Australian Aboriginal art, and I'm using the Australians as an example because they were isolated in Australia for like 50,000 years. They're the most archaic people that were ever discovered, and they have clear representations of these double helix structures in their art. So, and those are the two giant serpents out of which the world is made, roughly speaking. It's the same thing, you see that in the staff of Asclepius, which is the healing symbol that physicians use, although usually that's only one snake, but sometimes it's two. So that's a Chinese representation. And then there's this. That's the Egyptian representation. We talked about the Egyptian story the other day, right? We talked about Isis and Osiris. So there they are, cobras. Their tails are twined together. See, they emerge out of that. That's the dragon of chaos that manifests itself as culture and nature. That's the representation. That's unbelievably cool. So
this is really hilarious because what that image actually is just two snakes fucking. There's nothing to do with DNA whatsoever. It's just a picture of two fucking snakes fucking. So it's like, okay, it doesn't make any sense. There's no actual, evidence to substantiate that claim. Now, what he did there is he made it so that he said, oh, it's just speculation. I'm not making a position that this is, I'm just speculating, maybe making the case, kind of, but it's not really my position. That's sort of what he did there. And he did that when he talked to, because someone checked him on it at one of his talks, I think he was doing. And someone checked him on it, and he was like, oh, he even got, like, in the beginning, he did not preface that well either. He sort of showed that he was kind of nervous. But it's just, this is pseudoscientific nonsense. I mean, there's no, how the fuck are you going to tell me that they knew what DNA was way back when? That makes no sense whatsoever. And if you're honestly going to defend Jordan Peterson on this, you need to reevaluate yourself. You really do, because this should be a universal, objective, thing that we can look at and be like, yeah, this is objectively false.